Hey, let's go through a design challenge that I'm having that'll probably help you out. I have a boom arm that won't fit in this stand that I purchased. I need to 3D print an adapter that'll slot into the hole, but also accept the boom arm. Challenge accepted. Sponsor! And a quick shout out to Dell for providing a Precision 7750 and supporting these tutorials. I love using Dell when it comes to pushing the limits of Fusion and CAD and 3D printing. Opening Fusion, let's start a new part file. So let's take a look at the existing design, what we should try to build our design off of and improve upon. I think with some calipers and some simple measurements, we should be able to redesign this in Fusion 360. No need to take any photos and calibrate those since there's not a lot of complexity on this particular design. And here are the important steps. You pick your plane, you click sketch, sketch the shape, and you give it depth. First thing is start a sketch on the front plane. What I'm going to do is sketch the rough shape of half of our design. So you can see it's a little bit off. First thing, let's add all the correct constraints. So I'll select this line and make it sure it's vertical. And now everything looks good. This is perpendicular. This is horizontal. Let's add some dimensions. Now, because I know diameters, I could put those in as diameter or as a radius. So I'm going to put a construction line. I sketch a line and turn that into construction by hitting X on the keyboard or right-clicking and choosing construction. Quick tip, dimensions are super helpful to get the right size, but it also makes editing much easier later. So what I want to do now is start to dimension. And I'm going to dimension from the outside line. So I hit D for Smart Dimension from the line to this center line. And when I do that, I can place it and then right-click and choose Diameter. And what that does is it doubles it. And the order is actually sensitive. So you can see I messed up, right? It's doubling from the center outward. That's not what I wanted. But instead, I'll try the center line this time. Center line to the line, right-click, diameter. And now I can double over. That looks much better. And that's the measurement that we took of the mic insert. And it scales everything. Now, one thing you might notice is everything about my sketch just scaled correctly. And that's because I've got a setting in my preferences. There's scale the entire sketch at the first dimension. I love this setting. I mentioned it in a lot of other videos. This is one of my favorite settings. I always keep this on because I like to sketch everything and then have everything scale correctly once I put on my known dimensions. From the center line to the line, right-click, diameter, and now we've got it doubled. So what is the value when we measure that? Mine's about 19.48 millimeters. So maybe I'll go under a little bit because I want it to fit. 19.3 maybe, just under. The overall height is about 37.25. I don't think it's going to make too much difference if this is a little tall or a little short. I don't think this is a critical dimension that would affect the design and fit. And now for the lip, I'll pick the edge to the edge, and it's about 6.95. Okay, so I've used diameters to make my life easier, and just if you're confused by that, just keep in mind you can do radius. So if you know the same thing as 20, right, you can just type that in. That'll work fine. But I like doing diameters. It keeps everything straight, especially when I know that value, and that's the measurement I took. I don't have to convert anything in my head, and I'm less likely to mess it up. Hey, if you're trying to learn Fusion 360 or 3D printing, I've got videos for you. Hit that subscribe button. And back to the show. Now, this is a Revolve. It's going to spin about 360. Under Solids, find Revolve. Click it. This is the profile that's being turned 360. And now we need to pick an axis. This center line would work great, as well as maybe the axes from the planes would work as well. You can see the preview. It looks good. We're really close. Now you might be asking, could we have sketched that hole in the first sketch and just do it all in one sketch? Absolutely, that worked great. And the only reason I didn't was I sometimes like having the cuts separate so that I know how to edit them easier later. I don't have to even go into that sketch. So we're going to do that now. And now for that critical measurement of the inner hole, we'll compare that to the boom arm and make sure that we've got plenty of clearance. That's where it's sticking. Select this face, start a sketch, choose sketch. Now sketch the circle by connecting to the center point, dragging out, do D for smart dimension, place that circle diameter, and then put that value in. Now here's the gotcha. When I measured it, it was roughly 12.28, something like that. So if I do that, that's great, except my hole was too tight for the new mic. That little mic arm or boom, it doesn't fit in there, so we need to go bigger. So let's go all the way up to something like 14. I sketched that hole, and now we're going to extrude the cut all the way through. We can ensure that it goes all the way through by choosing through all. Cuts the hole out. Because this is my first iteration, I might not worry about any finishing touches like fillets and rounding corners if I want to do that. I don't have any real serious concerns about strength. As long as I print this nice and stiff, it should hold the weight of the boom arm just fine. It'll be in compression pretty much the whole time. Okay, so we save the part, and now let's send it to Cura. So in my case, I'm using Cura for my 3D printer. So best way to export the STL? So my favorite way, especially when I have multiple bodies or components, and I want them all in one slicer file, I right-click at the top level, choose Save as Mesh. It has that body that I care about selected, and I'm going to send it to an STL. It is in millimeter. Looks great. I'll leave it at the standard refinement, especially for my first version, my first prototype, and save that out. I'm going to be sending it to my Ultimaker S3. And I'm going to import or bring in that STL that we just had. So this orientation looks really good to me. I wanted to print this against the build plate. I don't expect I should need any supports. There's no significant overhangs, anything I'm worried about for the moment. This looks pretty good. So it's my first draft. Let's give it a shot. I'll slice it. Looks good, about 44 minutes. And one thing, on my Ultimaker, I actually have set it up to where I have a nice smaller standard nozzle at 0.4, and I have a large nozzle at 0.8, and I love using this one for my prototypes because it's faster, it's a little bit rougher, and sometimes the quality is great. Okay, so a few settings that I'm going to just make sure and check. I don't need any supports. I might do a skirt, but I'm definitely not going to do a brim for this one. And I'm going to do the skirt in the same nozzle, same plastic, and same material. When I choose to slice this, let's do a quick preview, make sure everything looks good. About 30 minutes later. Here's the finished component from the 3D printer. It looks pretty good, maybe some filing on the corners there. It's a little bit rough, but overall, I think this might work. Let's test it out. All right, dropping it, it fits into the hole nicely, and then bringing the boom arm, it seems to fit really well. There's not much slop or play. It does move around as I need it to, but it's nice and tight. Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the next video on reverse engineering. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what you thought. If there's something you didn't like about the video, I'd love to know. It helps me improve. So look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.